Sheets Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai, Ladonai Kito, Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. Hodu Ladonai, Ladonai Kito, Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. Oh, we give thanks to you, for your love is never ending. Ki leolam chasto, and we give thanks to you, for the world is now depending on Ki leolam chasto. Join me. Hodu ladonai, ladonai kitov, Ki leolam, leolam chasto. Hodu ladonai, ladonai kitov, Ki leolam, Leolam Chasto. Oh, we give thanks to you, for your love is never ending. Ki Leolam Chasto. And we give thanks to you, for the world is now depending on Ki Leolam Chasto. Hodu Ladonai, Ladonai Kito, Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. Hodu Ladonai, Ladonai Kito, Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. With all of our hearts we will pray for peace everlasting each day. When we who are Israel will know Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. Hodu Ladonai, Ladonai Kito, Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. Hodu Ladonai, Ladonai Kito, Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto. Ki Leolam, Leolam Chasto.
Welcome to Bodhi Shabbat. Welcome to our very, very intimate little crowd. I think we are feeling the effects of Thanksgiving week break, but it's outside? You know what? I will tell anyone watching at home, if you're not living in South Florida, it went down to like 69 degrees today. So we're suffering here. Send help. We have a GoFundMe page because we can't take this Arctic chill. We had to put sweaters on, so that's how bad it is here. Ba-dum-bum. So, whatever the reason, there's a few of us here, but we are small but mighty. I'm going to spend probably half the time will be going over my Israel trip with some of my pictures. So Before candles, we will join together in Shalom Aleichem, page 142.
Ya la 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 la. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la.
I'd like to ask Bodhi, so anyone in, well, how about Bradley, Elijah, Haley, Molly, and Ron Barhai, who stepped out for a moment, come on up to light our Shabbat candles. Candle lighting is on page 120. And Jeremy, just in time, head on up. Okay, I have three. Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Light? No, okay, light.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav.
You're doing the Kiddush tune. Why don't you just read it? Just read it.
Baruch atah Adonai
Good.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivani l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And English.
Blessed are you, God, source of all life, who brings us to holiness through mitzvot, and who has given us the mitzvah of lighting the Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And Yesher Koach to all of our young people. We will call you up again soon. Baruch Hu on page, well, Baruch Hu actually on your song sheet or on page 146. If you're able, you may rise.
Ya la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה.
Okay, is my mic on? Can you hear it? Okay. Page 152. Shema reminds us that we are all connected. Hear, O Israel, hear and understand, Jewish people. God is echad, God is unity, God ties all of us together around the globe. Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. I'd like to call up Molly and Haley to lead us in V'ahavta. Comes directly after Shema in the Torah. It is on page 154 in your Siddur. Someone should get a prize for that every week. I have it in right here.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levaha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anohi mitzacha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam ba'am b'shifteha b'veiteha uvlefteha v'dereh u'shofbeha uv'kumeha u'shartam la'od al yadeha v'hayu l'totafo b'neineha uvtavtam al mezuzot beiteha u'vishareha Leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohehem Ani Adonai Elohehem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohehem. Amen.
Thank you, Yasher Koach. Well done. Micha Mocha, page 158, our people's song of joy at being released from slavery in Egypt and sent off to pursue their dream of an independent life as a people of Israel. Micha Mocha.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Mi כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם, לעולם ועד. יא לה 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Elijah and anyone who would like to assist Elijah with leading us in a vote for Imahot and Givurot, in other words, the Tefillah, come on up. You need a siddur. Oh, come on. So we continue with the Tefillah, beginning on page 164. And if you're able, you may rise.
Adonai.
Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivcha Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Chanara El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shema Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Megain Avraham Vezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Leoshia Shiva Ruach Umarid Hagashem Mechakel Hayim Bechesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umechayeh umato lishenei afar michamocha bal gevurot umidolelach melech meimid umechayeh umatzmiya Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kdoshim B'chol Yom Yehallelu Selah Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Yesher Koach, thank you. We continue with a moment of silent reflection, either with the words of our hearts or the words in our prayer books, and we continue either standing or sitting.
Ose shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We send our thoughts and prayers to those who are in need of healing, physical healing, emotional healing. On this Shabbat, we especially send our prayers to Paul Aronson, David Appel, Avraham ben Roiza, Shlomo Betzalel ben Avraham, Kenneth Beer, Jacques Bendersky, Ethan Campbell, Sandra Chesler, Brian Clohessy, Randy Clohessy, Jay Crystal, Terry Darmody, Roiza Bat Shmuel Uvat Sheva, Shar Friedman, Rachel Galazan, Tracy Janetta, Julian Canner, Marion Kostrinsky, Shelley Lehner, Mark Merberg, Harriet Radin, Arnold Reamer, Melinda Robbins, Rosalie Saltiel, Louise Samuels, Jason Sherman, Bobby Sherman-Gieshen, Robin Stein, Carla Teisch, Katie Weinstock, Lori Weinstock. Are there others we wish to think of on this Shabbat? We send our prayers to all of them as we join together with Misha Beirach, page 109.
Misha Beirach avoteinu mekor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Beirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say, Amen. 'Cause
Right, so if you want to see the full collection, if you can't see, you should move over more, because this is where we're going to be focused for most of this, for all of this presentation. So I think everybody here knows I was in Israel for Rosa and Rosa's wedding, my daughter's wedding, my younger daughter who lives in Israel. So afterwards, after the service, we have a nice oneg set up in honor of their wedding, and I have some wedding pictures out, and you can take a look at. Anyway, so I left Halloween morning and returned, I think, the 11th of November. So if you want to see the full range of all my pictures, you have to be on my Facebook page. But this is kind of just which I know a lot of you are. So this is a selection. Mostly I was in Tel Aviv. You're going to see I did one day in Jerusalem. So I'm just going to sort of dive in now. There is, Tel Aviv is a city where there is just kind of graffiti and murals everywhere, and a lot relates to Bring Them Home, relates to the Israelis who are still captive in Gaza after October 7th a year ago. There are still about 100 hostages missing, and when I talked to the woman who was at the booth in Hostage Square, where I bought some things such as my little yellow ribbon, she said the guess is about half of them are alive still. I don't know how they would know that. Hopefully that is the case. I have the feeling that would be the absolute maximum that are still alive. So just one example of a mural, street mural. Oh, this way. Okay, now it's not working. Hello. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see if that helps. Yes, okay. These you probably recognize are the 6 hostages who were executed right before they were supposed to be released. When was that? About a month ago, I think. And they were all emaciated, and then they were basically filled with bullet holes. And negotiations just broke down. It's a little unclear, but they were shot in a tunnel in Gaza. One of them, I think the second one is supposed to be Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, which a lot of people are familiar with from the Democratic Convention, where his parents spoke and asked for him to be returned. The yellow ribbon is a symbol of the hostages, returning the hostages. Returning the hostages requires a ceasefire, and why the Netanyahu government does not want to talk about the hostages at all. So very interestingly, in the United States, the main people talking about the hostages are people who are on the political right. The people in Israel who are talking about the hostages are the political left. It's just, how that works, because in Israel, the people talking about the hostages are the people who are not for Netanyahu's policies about the war, that want a ceasefire and also want more democracy than the Netanyahu government is currently supporting in the country. And so it's just very, very different. I remember last year when the confirmation class came with me to Litaken, I said to them as we were walking up and down Congress, I said, do you notice that the only legislators who have hostages posters in front of their doors are the very conservative Republicans? Like Rick Scott had a hostages poster in the front. So just an interesting political tidbit. So you can see the yellow ribbons around the trees, and that's in Tel Aviv. Oh, this way. This is, got cut off. Well, whatever. This is the app that Israelis all have on their phone. I have it on my phone. I was sitting in the waiting room of the doctor's office the other day, and it went off, and I was like, I jumped. That's how you find out when a rocket alert goes off. You have a minute and a half to get shelter. So you can set home front. Ron, do you have it on your phone? Okay. I have it set for Rosa for South Tel Aviv and Jaffa, which is where she lives. I just want to know when the rocket alert goes off, and then I can text her, say, how you doing? You okay? And anyway, when that goes off, when you're in Israel and it goes off, it's not only on everybody's phone, but also the sirens go off, and you have to find shelter. And in case, I think a lot of you probably know what the situation is, but in case you don't, there is amazing technology called Iron Dome. Iron Dome's been around for a while. Iron Dome detonates all of the rockets that come over. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm not a weapons person. That may not be the right word. But whatever the word is for it, when they said rockets over, Iron Dome intercepts them and I guess sets them off in the sky. So you don't have to worry if you live in Israel, in much of Israel proper, you don't have to worry that something's going to blow up because Iron Dome takes care of it. However, if stuff's in the sky and blown up there, gravity, it has to come down. So you do have to worry about getting hit in the head with, a big piece of metal or that it's going to fall down on a building and chip something off. Still stuff coming from the sky can hurt you. So that's why you have to take shelter, because shrapnel and debris can fall. So you have to be protected from that. You usually only have to go for about 10 minutes, and then it's over, and then you go about your day. But it went off twice when I was there. The apartment that I rented an Airbnb for the time I was there, and the bedroom of my apartment was a safe room. So how that works is if you have certain, I assume, newer apartment buildings or apartment buildings that have been rehabbed, you can actually have a part of the building, because most people there live in apartments. You can have a part of the building that's reinforced concrete, I guess, is what I was told. And so that would keep you safe. So it was my bedroom. So both times the sirens went off when I was there, I was in bed. So I just had to stand up and close the door, and then I went back to sleep. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me. Now, my older daughter, Tanya, my older daughter, and her husband, they were on the beach, so they had to run, everyone you have to run for the closest hotel, because you have a minute and a half. She's 7 months pregnant, but I guess she managed to run pretty quickly anyway to the hotel. Right. If you're building, there are safe rooms / bomb shelters all over the place. However, you have to, So that's true. Rosa and Ben, their Tel Aviv apartment now has the bomb shelters in the basement. So everybody in the building just goes down to in the bomb shelter downstairs, and they have, it has air conditioning, it has bathrooms, it has it's somewhat comfortable. But their apartment they were in before this, they had to just be in the there was no bomb shelter in the building, they had to be in the stairs. Yeah, so you just have to go where to go. You know where to go. Okay, so that's the home front, that way, home front command. Tel Aviv and Israel in general is, Tel Aviv especially, I'll just talk about Tel Aviv, is like an arty city. It's, there's a lot of people, and I think this is generally Israeli culture. There is a value on the arts. There are certain fine arts and modern dance and different things in the arts that Israel is really excels at worldwide. I know for modern dance, Israel is one of the top places in the world for modern dance. I know because I have a friend who actually lives in Israel now who did, she does silver, I don't know what you call it, not silversmithing really, but making sort of art out of silver, metal smithing, and I know Israel's really big in that also. So there's just walking around the streets, you just see a lot of interesting stuff, and I just kind of liked I liked that building. This is another one. There's just like quirky, arty things, and they do tend to express themselves through public art in a way that I think exceeds the United States. So when I was there a year ago, right after October 7th, there was a lot of public art. There wasn't as much this time. That was all about sort of people expressing their feelings about October 7th, and just in a way that is different from you would see in the United States. Okay, this is a video. Let's see if it goes off. This is one day we were walking along Jaffa. So Tel Aviv and Jaffa are like neighboring. They're right next to each other, and they're along the Mediterranean Sea. So you can sort of walk on this pathway and just kind of walk through. Jaffa is a city that does have a lot of Arabs in addition to Jews. And I was asking about that, like, how does everyone get along? And I guess okay. But yeah, so this is just me standing in Jaffa by the sea, just kind of filming. People hanging out, socializing. That's really common there. I just kind of like the scene. The music was coming from a restaurant, like club, kind of outdoor setting. Flowers, fresh flowers are really big there, more than here, I think. They sell a lot of fresh flowers, and especially on Fridays, people buy a lot of flowers for Shabbat. This is another street scene. Being out at the cafes and socializing is a really big thing in Tel Aviv. A lot of young people, like in their 20s, really enjoy Tel Aviv and move to Tel Aviv. There's not a lot. Jerusalem, which is, I think, a much prettier city. That's I could argue with people about that. That's my personal opinion. Is not really a good place for secular people in their 20s. Like Tel Aviv is where all the vibrancy is. That's where the young people want to be, unless you're Orthodox, and then you're in Jerusalem. So this is just me kind of walking down this one little street in Florentin, which is the neighborhood my daughter lives in. No. I mean, not Shabbat. Not Shabbat. Yeah. Any other day besides Shabbat. Yeah. So, I mean, just a lot of food, a lot of nice looking food, a lot of just all the socializing, it's just kind of like a little Tel Aviv scene. A lot, I'm trying to remember. There are some things open on Shabbat and some things closed. Like, it's definitely more quiet, because that's sort of the day off. So that's why. But yeah, by Saturday night, everything's opening up again. Even in Jerusalem, everything's open. As soon as Havdalah happens, everything opens up. Okay, so this Florentin, do you know where the Florentin neighborhood is, Ron? Oh, you do? Cool. All right, well, that's where my daughter lives. So Florentin used to be very, very slummy, but it's gotten kind of revitalized by all these. Okay. Oh, so a lot of New Yorkers shaking their heads. Okay, so Florentin now has sort of an area called Levinsky Market, and it's like all these different like specialty restaurants and specialty shops with all kinds of spices and bulk artisan type ingredients or foods, whatever. So Rosa and Ben gave the family during the wedding week, one of the things they did is they gave us a food tour, because there are professional food tours of this area, so they did their own food tour. So one of the places they took us was, this guy had this like stand where he made artisanal organic beverages. So what he does is he takes all these organic fruits, you can see kind of big here, like branches of things, all kinds of native Israeli things, and puts them all in a cup, and then adds syrup and seltzer. And and it's expensive, but you can get free refills. He'll give you more syrup and seltzer as you want. So anyway, that was Tanya's drink, and I took that picture like that, and then she liked what I did. So then her and Adam were like, they were doing it from the same angle. It's like, yes, I know my photography. And that is Tanya and Adam with her, holding her artisanal beverage. So I can't remember what was in there, but all kinds of Israeli things. But I will show you one thing that was in there. What's that? An etrog. That is a big bell. I bet you don't sell any etrogs that look like that at your store, because no one would buy them. It was big. It was like, nobody would buy that, because for Sukkot, the rule or the guideline is you want the most beautiful etrog that's very symmetrical. So this is not going to work. But I loved that. I was like, oh my God. So I took a picture of that. And there were slices of etrog in the drink. That was one of the native things that was in the drink. And of course, a lot of you know me and my thing with etrogs. I was like, I hope that's organic. Do you know etrogs are filled with pesticides? My little spiel that I do. Anyway, I assume it was organic. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. She asked if there was a pitome on it, and I don't know the answer to that. I didn't look carefully. So this was part of the food tour that Rose and Ben did. They bought these specialty foods from around the neighborhood, and then they brought a big piece of, I didn't know, like a big piece of butcher paper, and then like labeled everything for everybody. So it was very, very nice. No pizza there, but they sell a lot of pizza in Tel Aviv. There's a lot of pizza places in Tel Aviv. Okay, this I thought was interesting. First of all, just the shops are set up. They're just, I just love the look of that. There's just so much to look at. But if you notice on the top, remember I left October 31st. This was a few days later. You can see the remnants of the Happy Halloween balloons. There's, a lot of the letters are left. And you might say, why are they celebrating? They love American holidays in Israel. Love. So into Halloween, and I have to share this story. I'm going to show you soon a picture of Ben's, the whole family at the wedding. But Ben is now my son-in-law, so who married my daughter. So Ben is third generation Israeli. I'll show you some pictures later. And his family is descended from Iraqi Jews and North African Jews. One of his sisters lives in an Orthodox community, so the kids go. She has 4 kids. I was never sure exactly whose kids were whose. I was very confused. There were 7 children, and I wasn't 100% sure which kids belonged to which sister. But anyway, so she has these 2 boys that I talked to for a long time. They're adorable, 6th grade and 9th grade, adorable boys who live in, they're Israeli, and they live in this Orthodox community in Israel. And I had a conversation with him at the wedding, at the 6th grader, and he said, what's your favorite holiday? And I said, you mean like Jewish holiday, non-Jewish? And we had a conversation about that, and he was saying he liked Sukkot for a Jewish holiday, because apparently what they do is when they go in the sukkah, they sing a song and everyone throws candy at them, which is not I didn't know that, that tradition. So I guess it's an Israeli tradition. So he likes Sukkot, but he said, but if I move to America, my favorite holiday, the holiday I really, really love is, I really want to celebrate is Yom Molad. And I'm like, Yom Molad, what's that? And then Ron's laughing because he knows. And his mom, who's Ben's sister, was right there. And I was like, what holiday is that? And she said, Christmas. Because Yom Molad is birth, day of birth. Like, day of birth is what that means. And I go, Christmas? Because they're like Jewish Israelis who are Orthodox. I didn't understand. Oh, yeah, it's so great. And we do that. I remember when he was so excited about Christmas. And I said, that's a Christian holiday. And I looked at his mom, and his mom's like, yeah, it's Christian. It's just American. I don't think it's just another American thing, like Disneyland or, Disneyland Christmas. And what was so funny about that is at some point we went to Ben's parents' apartment, and on the door there were some pictures that I guess the kids had drawn in school, like worksheets they had colored, and one of them was this whole scene of a Christmas tree. And I said to Dan is my ex-husband, I'm like, they have a Christmas tree thing on their wall. Like, what the? It's very, to them, it's just American. It's just American. So he didn't care. He was just very excited about Yom Molad. I was like, it's Christian in America, but whatever. Anyway, thought that was an interesting little anecdote. That's just another scene of a street with stuff out, and I just liked it. I just liked how it looked. Another just street scene. I love the flowers. This I thought was funny, this graffiti. Again, there's like painted stuff in graffiti, like everywhere in Tel Aviv, just all over. And it's not always that nice because, I only photographed the sort of photogenic graffiti, but a lot of it's just graffiti. And I also noticed they really don't, in Tel Aviv especially, they don't take care of the buildings. Like the paint is peeling off. It's kind of there's a lot of things that I consider eyesores, and there's garbage on the street, and it's just not. I've just never been a big Tel Aviv person. That's just me. A lot of people love Tel Aviv. It's just not my thing. But when I said something to Ben about, there's a lot of garbage on the ground, he goes, oh, not in Tel Aviv. Like, he doesn't even see it. He doesn't see it. I go, not in Tel Aviv? What are you talking about? It's like everywhere. Do you not look? Do you not look down when you're walking? He didn't see it. They don't see it. Anyway, I thought this was kind of funny because this was like the battle of the graffiti. It's like, it obviously said ceasefire now. Then somebody came and crossed the now out and wrote never ceasefire. Then someone else came and crossed out the never. So it just says ceasefire. So it's sort of the political battle of the graffiti I thought was kind of cute. Okay, so this is Hostage Square. There's a big square in front of the Tel Aviv Art Museum in Tel Aviv that since October 7th last year has been dedicated to the hostages and families of the hostages. I was there a year ago, it was only a month after October 7th, and it was kind of a different scene. First of all, there were 250 hostages taken, so all of the families were out. There were huge public art displays and really impressive art stuff. I mean, October 7th had just happened. Now it's a little over a year later, and, of course, there's hostages that have been returned, hostages that have been returned alive, hostages returned dead. It's a smaller number now, so it wasn't quite as crowded and there wasn't quite as much stuff, but there's still art. Again, it's this Israeli sort of public art that they use to express their pain, their emotions. So that was a piano that, while I was walking around, a few people came over and were playing the piano. That's the clock that says how many days since the hostages were taken. While I was there, it hit 400, and there was 400 written all over the place. That was sort of a big day that came and went. 400 days since the hostages were taken. This was, I thought, really powerful. This obviously was right after Sukkot. This is an art exhibit someone put up that shows, you know, obviously a sukkah is supposed to be a place of protection, and they made this art exhibit that looks like a bloody sukkah with, you know, slashes in it and cut into, and I found that really powerful. This is probably the most famous art exhibit of October 7th. It was getting a lot of publicity right after October 7th a year ago. This is the big like dinner party that was set out for all of the all the 250 hostages, and it's still up. And you know, different individuals have decorated their place at the table, and you can see it's still set up for Sukkot. They put a sukkah covering over it. This is an art piece that was made for the Nova Music Festival, which, as we know, ended up being a very, very bloody scene of terror and murder. They didn't know that when they had this art exhibit, but now that we know that's what happened at the Nova Music Festival, this has now become a symbol of the slaughter on October 7th, and that is up in Hostage Square. You know, it's not only that day, like a week before I got there, one of the survivors of the Nova Music Festival ended her own life because people who were there, who survived, saw unbelievable horrors, and there's a lot of discussion about, is the state doing enough for the survivors, for their PTSD and their emotional pain that they're in from having had to live through that kind of horror. Okay, this is a mural in Tel Aviv of a woman named Rachel Edry, I think. Yeah, Rachel Edry. Do people know the story of Rachel Edry? She had some terrorists come into her home on October 7th, and she survived by feeding them and talking to them. Have people heard that story?
Yeah, you told it to us when you came back.
Oh, did I? Okay. So just the quick version is Rachel and her husband David, they had hidden out from the terrorists, but they thought the danger had passed mid-morning, and they went back to their home. But what they didn't realize is by going back to their home, there were armed Hamas terrorists in their home that were escaping from the police. So they were trapped. Oops. Okay. They were trapped in their house, and she decided that she would welcome them as guests. She is known as a really welcoming person, so the people in her community know her as somebody who's really kind and welcoming and feeds everybody. So she decided that's what she's going to do with them. Now, she's a daughter of Iranian Jewish immigrants, so she did know some Arabic from that background, so she was able to talk to them in Arabic a little bit. She asked them if they wanted Coca-Cola, and they said yes, but all she had was Coke Zero because she is diabetic, and they did not want that, and they wanted regular Coke. I don't know if she was able to get that for them. They were there. They didn't kill them. They were just kind of hanging out with them, and she was talking, and she was trying to make friends with them. She realized they might be getting hungry, and so she made them tea, and she made them cookies, and she made them chicken, and one of the terrorists said to her, "You remind me of my mother," to which she responded, "I am really like your mother. I will help you, and I'll take care of you." And they were kept for 20 hours. They were held hostage, and they managed to survive by her just being friendly. At one point, Israeli soldiers were outside and managed to shoot and kill one of the terrorists. I don't know why at that point they didn't just kill Rachel and David, but they didn't. So she ended up bandaging one of the hands of one of the terrorists. And anyway, she managed for 20 hours to stay safe, and somehow they were rescued. I don't know the whole story, but that's a mural that was made of her in Tel Aviv. Interesting story. There's some street art, again, more just public art you can find everywhere for the hostages. This I mentioned at the congregational meeting. This was something that really struck me. This is a wall outside. This is the Tel Aviv Performing Arts Center. It's a very huge building, and there's all stuff on the wall outside, and I kind of like that saying. Our wounds are centuries old, but so are our resilience and our strength. That's a gigantic banner that was hanging from a building a year now, obviously since October 7th. Okay, there I'm decked out. I look like I'm very red. I wasn't really that red. That's the coloring. But at Rosa and Ben's wedding, I sat next to a woman named Kalanit Sharon. And Kalanit is the founder of one of the protest groups that regularly protest against the government. Her group is called the Pink Front, and the Pink Front is made up of mostly artists and people in the arts. So it could be any kind of arts, whether visual arts, dance, theater, whatever. And that's their group. So she was saying how they had all of this stuff, and I said, I want to go and get some things. So anyway, I ended up walking, like a couple days later after the wedding, I ended up walking to her office and gave a donation, and this is a bunch of stuff that I got. So some of you have some of this. I brought some of this home. These Bring Them Home Now ring, plastic ring, and my the necklace, the Bring Them Home Now necklace, and the yellow pins, one of them I have on. And then I got this shirt, Victory Equals Hostage Release, I think. What? Deal, right, a deal. Yes, thank you. Victory Equals Hostage Deal. And it has the pink front in Hebrew and English and Arabic on the back. So I was decked out. I was showing off my my hostage release protest gear. This is just another, I love that. It's just like this, it says tiny, tiny gallery. It's just like this, it was in this little teeny window in Tel Aviv. Again, just this inserting art in like unexpected places in public. And I just really loved that. I love word art like that. I thought that was really pretty. This is a guy who was in his window. I walked by on his sewing machine, sewing. These are different like household objects made out of leather. And these look, obviously, are supposed to look like cleaning supplies. They're made out of fabric and stuffed. Just interesting, quirky art that you see around Tel Aviv. This is the Tel Aviv National Theater. And it's very Lincoln Center looking to me. You know, when you go to Lincoln Center and there's all these different buildings and art. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of. That's another scene from it. I thought that was cool. It's this really, really shallow water that's there with the reflection. And I just thought that was really pretty. Okay, now I have a few of the protests. So let me see if I will mention one thing. Tanya had a really good point. So my older daughter, Tanya said, I really, really appreciated being able to go to these protests in Israel because I cannot go to the protests in the United States. And the reason is because there's two kinds of protests in the United States. One is the people with all the Palestinian flags saying Israel's committing genocide. Clearly not going to those. Then there's the ones that are like stand with them or stand with Israel that are associated with much more like far conservative right political people than is comfortable for Tanya and my family. You know, it's just not, we wouldn't be comfortable there either. So there's really no place for us. And she really appreciated being able to protest with Israelis. They love Israel. They're Israeli citizens. They live there and they are protesting. So she was really appreciative that there was a space for her to make her voice known in Israel when there isn't a place for her in the United States. the drums are part of the Pink Front. That's one of their things. Is there any opposition? To what?
Well, the protesters are for getting rid of Netanyahu.
Well, maybe, yeah, probably getting rid of Netanyahu, or just, yeah, that's probably true.
So is there ultra-Orthodox opposition?
Not at these events that I'm aware of. Yeah, I don't, that's a really good question. I mean, there weren't any in Tel Aviv. I don't know if there's protests in Jerusalem. I don't know, yeah, I don't know, but that's an interesting question. That's the Ayalon, that's the highway. It isn't like the United States, it's a little teeny country, there's one highway. So they've been able to block this when they've had more people. Yes, yes. This, I thought, we were just kind of like in the protest when everybody was standing still, and I just thought it was a good shot if you're just interested, like who goes to these protests, and there's a lot of boomer age people, there's some younger people, but it's a little, I thought the crowd to me was a little older, like sort of the old time left-wing Israelis. Yeah, I mean, a lot of younger people in the army, and also this is over a year of protests. I mean, there's protests regularly. It's like, how many days, you can't go every day to a protest for like 2 years, So, and also Netanyahu had just fired the defense minister for the second time, Golant, and that happened, I think, the day of Rose's wedding, and so there were protests about that. Anyway. So I just wanted to point out, I already basically said, but there's Rosa and Ben. Those are Ben's parents. They were both born in Israel. Their parents were the ones who came to Israel. His mom's parents came from Algeria, which is right across the Mediterranean from Spain. She has very few family stories, which was kind of bizarre to me, but Ben did a little research, and he thinks that family goes back to like the Spanish Inquisition, which is when Jews were kicked out of Spain and Portugal in 1492. So that's probably true. Like, how else are Jews in North Africa? So that's probably true. His dad was born here, but his parents are Iraqi Jews. Iraqi Jews go back to the Babylonian exile. That was 2,500 years ago when Babylonia took over Jerusalem and the area around it and made the Jews walk, the Jews that survived, made them walk to Babylonia, which is modern-day Iraq. When King Cyrus of Persia came in and allowed the Jews to go back, not all the Jews did. Some Jews stayed. So you had Iraqi Jews there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and it took modern anti-Semitism to get them kicked out of Iraq. So there's no Jews in Iraq now, but, it's sad. And that's, it's cut off. His other sister got cut off, but that's the sister that's Orthodox. There's, what was his name? Yotam? I can't remember his name. Yeah, Yahel, I think. He's Christmas boy. Yeah, no, he was very, very sweet. We had and also his older brother. They were very nice. Their English is excellent. I do not know how they speak such excellent English. That's where I brought the cards we all made. Remember at the High Holy Days, we made cards for victims of terrorism. This is Jerusalem. I brought them there. I know I'm going over time. This is a great story. I'm not going to have time to tell any of these stories, but this is such a good story. I would never live in Israel, but if someone said, I will give you a unit in the Yemen Moshe neighborhood of Jerusalem, I would live in it. That's the only way I would ever live in Israel. I'm sure they're so beyond expensive. But if someone were to give me a unit in this, and these are pictures I did not take. See, I even have on there pictures not taken by me. I got them off the internet. But these are, it's an artist colony. It overlooks the old city. It's beautiful. I'm sure they're very expensive. They were built to get Jews out of the old city in the mid-1800s by a rich British Jewish man called Moses Montefiore. No, not Montefiore. Oh my God. It is Montefiore. Okay. So anyway, he built this windmill so Jews wouldn't have to live in Israel, wouldn't have to live off of charity, that they could mill their own flour and make a living, and also get the Jews out of the really dirty, cramped, overcrowded old city. It did not work. This windmill died pretty quickly. It never actually was a good business, but you can still go and visit it, and you can look inside the windmill, and it's very cool. And just, if you happen to know anyone that owns a unit here that happens to just want to give it away instead of selling it for many millions of dollars, I am ready. I'm ready. Otherwise, no. I just have some pictures of Jerusalem that show when I went to rabbinical school in Jerusalem in 82 to 83, it was very poor. It was awful. It was dirty. It was poor. There was nothing there. Now there's all these like fancy shopping center. There's a lot more money in Jerusalem than there was back then. Just a holiday street in Jerusalem. They're looking for people to go shopping. This was kind of cool on a building. This was on Jaffa, I think, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's just there all the time. No, it's not. I don't think it's bats. I think it's birds. But it was just like playing music. It was being projected up there. It was just music. I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't know why. Anyway, there's a whole... You get the idea. I got to whip through this. Oh, this is just a street scene in Jerusalem on Jaffa Road. I was walking around, and you can see the difference. It's much more Orthodox. You can just see how everybody's dressed. It's just much more Orthodox. Oh, the girls and their skirts. It's a very Orthodox city, but really beautiful. This I just thought was very cool. It was just a boy pulling up on his scooter to a service, a little tiny synagogue in there. It was very cool looking. Okay, Haggai Bakery. This is Haggai ben Yehuda. And I said, can I take a picture with you because you're a celebrity? He didn't realize I had researched this. My daughter Rosa works at this bakery, and he is a fifth-generation bread baker. Fifth generation. The last few generations were in Israel, before that in Europe. And he only bakes with special grains that go back 8,000 years that are like heirloom grains in Israel. It's very, very interesting, and she gave me a whole tour. And I told him, I said, my Tanakh class, which some of you are in, my Tanakh class was reading about the bread in Ezekiel 4:9, in Yehezkel 4:9. He had no idea there was anything about bread in the book of Ezekiel. I'm like, what? How could you not know that? Your whole life is bread. You didn't know about Ezekiel bread? And I said, but we decided it wasn't a great recipe because in the book, in the Bible, it says you cook it on human feces, if you remember. And so he said, what is feces? And Rosa said, it means poop. And he goes, oh, No, I don't think they really bake it like that anymore, but that's what it says in the book of Isaiah. Anyway, he didn't know anything about it, but one of the flours he used is right in there. I was like, you have to look it up. Anyway, that's some of the gigantic used mixers they just put. That's Rosa, obviously not in her wedding dress, at work, giving me the tour. These gigantic mixers. They mill their own flour for the bread, and it's heirloom. It's very cool. I'm not going to have any more time to say any more about it, but there you go. There's the flour being made at the store. And this is my last picture. What? Delicious. It's excellent bread. People go by. It's excellent bread. If you're in Tel Aviv, Hagai Velechem. I think it is kosher, I think. I'm pretty sure. Okay, this I just had to show. When I was going home and I was in the Tel Aviv airport, this was the clock that was projected on a huge screen. I was fascinated by it. I was like, how do they do this? And I had to video it. So obviously it looks like people in a pool, synchronized swimming. I know. Thank you, Sandy. That's exactly what I did. When I saw it, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I just stood there. I could have stood there all day watching it. So on that note, a little bit about Israel. There you go. Done. Thank you. And we're going to finish up our survey. Oh, Matthew, you have a quick announcement? Because I know I went over, but that was the short version of my trip.
There we go. People think I talk long, but that was very nice. Thank you, Rabbi. Actually, the announcements are that we're closed all week. There's no religious school Sunday or the following Sunday. There's no ECC, no Tanakh, no. No,
there is Tanakh. There is Tanakh. Don't say that.
Sorry.
Don't say that. There's Tanakh on Tuesday.
The rest of everything is down. What we do have is Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at St. Andrews is the Unity service. So please join us, and represent Temple Beth Orr. Yes? December 8th is a sisterhood meeting.
Okay, you can see that in your stuff. Okay, Bodhi, come on up and open the Ark doors for Aleinu, page 586. And if you're able, you may rise. Just come up, it's fine. Yeah, please don't break my expensive projector, thank you.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצו, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Yesher Koach. Thank you, Bodhi. You're going to come up again in a couple minutes for Kiddush. You may be seated. We remember those who are no longer with us. those who live on in our memories and our hearts, in all the ways they brought their unique gifts to our world. On this Shabbat, during his time of Shloshim, we remember Paul Bagun, father of Scott Bagun, and those whose yahrzeits fall this week: Nat Azaro, Stanley Burlow, Ruth Cohen, Marilyn Kotler, Marcia Epstein, David Richard Fish, Isidore Lewis Griefer, Victor Allen Grubin, Judith Horn, Helen Bay Kitoff, Faye Clampkin, Philip Lehner, Robert H. Levy, Samuel Mushkin, Marilyn Silvern, Bess Feldman Terrace, Jotava Nechamata, Damiran Bialma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, as we say, Amen. You may be seated. We move from our sacred prayer of memory to the joy of Shabbat and ask Bodhi to come back up for Kiddush, to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. And come on over, we have a few more cups up here. Up. Kiddush is on page, do we need more sheets? Let me get a couple more Kiddush sheets up here. Kiddush is on page 123. And here's some more Kiddush prayer sheets.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'rata b'anu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'yahava ratzon chilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah, Lamikra Kodesh, Zeher L'Tziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu V'Horta, V'Yatanu Kidashta, Mikol Ha'amim, V'Shabbat Kodshecha, V'Ahava Uvratzon, V'Chaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Yeah, I forgot to put my Thanksgiving thing on next week. Can take that off the mic, please. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lehem min haaretz.
Amen. B'te'avon. And a song of peace, Israeli song of peace, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. And if you are religious school, we have stickers for your passports. Bring your passports up.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, Salam Shalom. Oyavo Shalom Aleinu, Oyavo Shalom Aleinu, Oyavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Oyavo Shalom Aleinu, Oyavo Shalom Aleinu, Oyavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, Salam Shalom. Oyavo Shalom Aleinu, Oyavo Shalom Aleinu, Oyavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Wedding related Oneg Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.